Hey, what's up, guys? Brad Oldhouse here, creator of Beyond the Bench, and I had this idea of maybe doing a rewatch podcast. And the idea and the premise behind it is pretty simple. Just kind of maybe not go episode by episode for every season, but to maybe highlight some of my favorites and be able to tell you some stories from behind the scenes, that kind of thing. And yeah, so that's really what this is about. Uh, the episode we're going to watch is the first episode of season 3. It's probably it's in my top 5. I'm not sure if it's my number 1 or my number 2. So I'd say top 2, but either way, like this is a special one. I'd grown a lot since the previous seasons of Beyond the Bench. Just having come all that way with all those years in between. So, between season 2 and season 3, there's actually, I believe, at least 4 years. And I'm going to have to look at that. 4 years between the last episode of 2 and the first episode of 1. And what happened during that time period was I just got better at my craft, just from all the client work I was doing and all the clients I've been blessed to have. And, I really just cut my teeth on editing and learning my style and everything like that, my shooting, style, learning how to shoot to edit, all that jazz. But anyway, from all of my research, and by research, I mean like all of the documentary series that I watch on TV, I noticed that first episode is key in a docuseries, and that first 5 minutes is crucial. If you're not hooked in the first 5 minutes, you're not going to watch the show. And I don't know if, excuse me, if you know the backstory, but let me play this video for you here real quick. This was recorded right after the first meeting between myself and Jed Snyder, talking about bringing Beyond the Bench back, and I was just fired up. So check this out. Well, if you're seeing this, then that means you already have heard about the awesome partnership going on between Social Flicks and the Helena Bighorns hockey team. And I'm pretty excited. It's pretty much like a homecoming. So for those of you who don't know, this is where I got my start. 5-6 years ago, I was the marketing director for the team, and I came up with a video series called Beyond the Bench. And basically it was just kind of like a team vlog, right? Like I just followed the team around with the same camera that we shot the games on, and just started making videos, and fans loved it and started packing out the house. And it was a really good time. And for a good 2 seasons at least, Beyond the Bench was monetized. I was able to get sponsors for the show and the whole nine, and it was really great. And then I ended up leaving the Bighorns to pursue Social Flicks, basically to be out on my own. I thought, hockey's a business. The Helena Bighorns are no different. If what I'm doing for the Bighorns is giving them returns, then why can't it work for any other business? So that's when I struck out on my own, and I've attempted a couple of times to come back, but the deals just quite weren't right. I might have been asking too much, or maybe the right people might not have been in place, but I'm thankful now for new ownership, who is very excited about having a new season of Beyond the Bench filmed. I obviously can't stop smiling when I say that because I'm just so freaking excited. But so I'm going to be around the hockey rink all season long. I'm going to get to go on the road with the boys, and it's kind of fun. Okay, so I knew that the first 5 minutes have to be good. And it's just how it came out was exactly how it played in my head, but it's also how it played in my heart too. I really wanted to bring some special attention to this. Keep in mind, I didn't know any of these guys, right? Like I basically have just I haven't even met the team at this point. And, I knew Bloomer, I coached Bloomer when he was a Bantam here in Helena. So that was my connection to the players, but I didn't realize that Tyler Greene was Mike Greene's son until like 3 weeks in. And I don't know why that didn't fucking click, but anyway, so making sure that this episode was something that got your attention, that hit you in the heart, and really made you want to watch more and not just watch the rest of the episode, but to keep watching. And to the fans' credit, I just got to say thank you. There's no reason whatsoever I would ever be thinking about doing a rewatch podcast if it hadn't been successful. And it wouldn't have been successful without the fans. Number one, you guys embraced this, you shared it, and I can't thank you enough. And the fact that we got to win a telly off of this, and I say we because we did it together, I mean, it blows my mind. So here, we're going to watch the first episode. So basically, I don't know necessarily how all of this is going to work as we go along. This is basically my first take. I want to see what my editing process is. I'm recording on a new set of mics, and I want this to be clean and clear and all that stuff. So that said, I don't know how this is going to go. We're just going to watch the episode, and I might pause it from time to time. Let's just get into it.
This will be year 28 of junior hockey here in Helena. We want to give them a team that they can be proud of, an arena they can be proud of, and an organization of the Helena Bighorns, whether they're a business partner or not, but they're proud that the Helena Bighorns are part of the Helena community.
Okay, so that's Mike Greene, and through the years of getting to know Mike and getting to work with him, it's really funny. Like, he's just, if you get to know him, his sense of humor is so great, and it's spot on. Like, the dude just makes me laugh constantly. He likes to say on occasion, Old House, well, it's Old Balls now, and that there's a long story behind that, but he's now, Old Balls, these episodes of yours would do a hell of a lot better if you had more of me in it. Or see, I told you that one was successful, so you got to have this guy in more, so anyway, he's just funny that way. Yeah, and what a blessing this man has been in my life, and I don't know if he ever sees it, but I can't thank Mike enough for what he's done for me. And Jed's getting his thanks too. Don't you worry, Jed. But we're just on Mike now, and I think Jed's coming up next. So let's check this out. Yep, there he is.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's the goal of anything.
Look at those eyes.
Anything is to put Helena back on the map. And that's where we want.
So turns out that is the guy that just took that shot is Andrew Deskin. And Deskin had been around for quite a while. We actually end up interviewing him in season 4, I believe. So just kind of making your way from, I'm going to try to see if I recognize most of the guys. This, I believe, is Tank Aldridge. These two, I'm not entirely sure. I think the guy in the front is Trace Tarento. Sorry, buddy. I'm not sure who's behind him. And let me get just a little further. So behind Deskin as he skates away is Tyler Greene. Obviously, Coach Hansen. And I don't recognize those two guys. They probably didn't. They probably weren't around long.
I got 10 fingers. I want 10 rings.
Yeah, I got 10 fingers. I want 10 rings.
That's what makes it a little different. Gavin Lubin, assistant coach, played here. DeMont Hansen head. So,
little story about Gavin Lubin. Sorry, Gav. I've got to throw you under the bus here, pal. It's part of the behind the scenes stories. So I'm gonna put that back on because my shaggy head. Anyway, props to my fellow ginger, Gavin Lubin, who I got the pleasure of meeting when he was playing for us. And I will never forget the day that I met Gavin Lubin. So John Jonason was the head coach. I was the assistant coach / GM / marketing guy at the time. And he and I were both in agreement that we like this kid playing up in Havre right now. We got to figure out a way to get him here. This Gavin Lubin guy just plays like a bighorn, right? He plays big, he plays fast, he plays hard, he hits like a hammer, and he's got passion for days. And I just thought that he was a great guy just from being on the opposite bench as that guy for a while. I remember John Jonason said, "Hey, guess what? We're getting Lubin. He's on his way," and I just couldn't believe it. I was so stoked. And when he got into the arena, you know, we shook hands and I told him how much I was happy that he was here, that he's welcome, that, you know, I tried to do everything to make sure that that kid knew that he was welcome. And it turns out that he was having a really rough time up there. And, you know, that organization doesn't exist anymore, and it probably doesn't exist anymore for good reason, not the least of which, not only did they not take care of their players, they were flat out fucking neglected. And, you know, that ownership group is history and everything else. But I'm telling you, Lubes came into Helena a hungry guy, and not just hungry to play on a hockey team that actually could do something, but literally hungry. The kid hadn't eaten in a long time, and I just couldn't believe it. And so at that point, I just followed him throughout the season, and I loved Gavin. So when I learned that he had come back and he had became Damon Hansen's assistant coach, I was like, oh, dude, that's so cool. Like, welcome home, buddy. This is going to be awesome. And he was always cool with me having the camera around. And I loved our conversations about, you know, photography and videography and things like that. And in terms of how he left, that's really none of my business. That's what I was told, was that it was none of my business. Found out through the grapevine that he actually did take a job, and he basically advancing in his career as we speak. So he had an opportunity, but that opportunity meant that he had to leave, which is why in the middle of season 3, you kind of start to see Mike Greene on the bench more and more, is because Mike actually traveled every weekend sometimes, or staying like 2 weeks at a time, but basically just becoming the assistant coach and helping Damon out. And Mike will be the first to tell you, being a head coach isn't a one-man job. So, you know, it takes a group of guys to get a group of guys together, right? To get them on the same page. So we'll keep going here, but I love this scene here where it kind of splits in the middle. It's just something I saw on a documentary once, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I just thought the way that we had shot Mike with the B cam here, I thought that was a good angle. If we black and white that, and then we bring in the color on the other half of the person he's talking about, I thought that was a pretty neat deal. And then it would all transition back to the main shot. It was really something I picked up. Okay, I went too far backwards, but here we go. Tyler Greene, man. This Nick Kofer.
Staff has roots here. That's what makes it a little different. Gavin Lubin, assistant coach, played here. Damon Hansen, head coach, played here. Jed Snyder, owner, played here. Myself, coached here. So we all know what it feels like, whether you were an ice pirate or a cutthroat or a bighorn, doesn't matter. It was Helena junior hockey, and it feels really good to be back.
Because when I played here, we had a really good hockey team. Helena walked into a building and the teams were already beat because they knew they were just going to lose.
Fuck yeah.
And we want that back in like a bad way.
Oh, it's coming, Jed. Another greener shot there. Another green. Okay, so we're off and going. And that's really the beginning of what would become 3 years of the most fulfilling time of my life that I got to tell this story.
The business model junior hockey operates in requires a constant state of change.
Okay, so I often get asked about the voice, and I'm telling you, I get asked everywhere I go by people who watch the show, are you the voice? I'm like, no, I'm not the voice. And so the story goes, if you haven't heard it, the story goes, I put out on LinkedIn that summer that I was looking for a voiceover and somebody that was familiar with sports, but also some documentaries. And I put it out there on LinkedIn, and I must have had 17 or 18 people within a 24-hour time period start sending me their demo reels and things like that. And I heard a lot of great voices. I heard male and female. If you're familiar with HBO's Road to the Winter Classic 24/7, they don't do it anymore for hockey, but when they did, Liev Schreiber fuck. Either way, I'm butchering his name. He's the voice. And so that's kind of like what resonated in my head with what would I like as a voice for this for this stuff for this season. And as soon as I heard this guy's voice, I knew it. Like the second I heard his demo reel, I was like, yep, this is our guy. So Ryan Corwin is well, I think he's still in the radio business, or he has been in the radio business in the past. He's also a writer. He's writing a book, I believe, and I should probably check in. Ryan, if you hear this, bro, like how's the book writing going? Have you finished, or am I just making all this up? Sorry, man. Beyond the bench years feel like a dream sometimes. But anyway, so Ryan lives in Missoula, and as soon as I heard his voice, I was like, he has to be our voice. And as soon as I matched his voice to this footage, I was like, yep, that's the right guy. Right decision.
This latest iteration of the Helena Bighorns hockey team has tapped into its storied past to reconceptualize its current existence.
Mike actually tells a story better than I do regarding how I came about here, but I literally was the van driver who became one of the team captains and one of the scorers in the hockey team for the 94-95.
Just turning it up, sorry.
Jed Snyder played for the inaugural Helena Ice Pirates in 1994 under the watchful eye of then head coach Mike Greene. Now, 28 years later, Jed and Mike return to the Helena Ice Arena with one goal: to restore Helena to its rightful place among the junior hockey elite.
But we have to do it right, and that's the main thing, in junior hockey, especially in the tier 3 levels and that sort of thing. Everybody wants to invest money, but they want their money back out as fast as possible. And it's one of those where you really need to focus on the players.
The coaching.
I don't want that to go too far without at least some reinforcement of that statement, especially since it's been 3 years since I put this together. He and Mike and Jasmine and the coaching staff and the staff at the arena and the Social Flicks, broadcast crew, man, every single one of us, like, we know that these players are front and center, and these players will tell you they are treated like pros. So that wasn't bullshit. And that was funny because I think Jed went through this period with the public that they basically either thought he was full of shit or that they didn't believe that he was going to do what he ended up doing. But he did it anyway. I mean, he owns the rink now, right? Like, that was part of the goal the whole time. But people would look at him like, "Oh, yeah, right. Good luck, buddy." And yeah, man, he's proven them all wrong. I fucking love Jed. Like, and we've gotten a lot closer. We're kind of sharing office space right now at Success Squares. By the way, could that be our first sponsor? Success Squares. Find your success in one of our squares. 600 Lola Street, Helena, Montana. Moving on.
Staff have more recent ties to the team. Head coach Damon Hansen played for 3 seasons here, winning championships under Scott Cunningham.
It's pretty special. This town, the fans, this team, this logo, it means a lot to me. So it's going to be pretty cool.
So a bit of irony here. You'll recognize this guy holding the cup. That's Theo Camp, Fraser Cup winning assistant coach, Helena Bighorns, 23-24. And Damon Hansen is skating right behind him, having just handed him the cup. So I basically ripped this off the internet. So to whoever took this photo, I don't own it. So thanks for putting it out there. And if it's yours, tell me, and I'll make sure you get some credit. But either way, that's pretty neat that we got Theo in here. Theo is just such a great guy. He has, just a real dry sense of humor about him. But I'm telling you, when the guy starts laughing, like his laugh is hilarious. I love it when Theo is laughing. Yeah, and he's a damn good dude. So anyway, we'll keep going.
And Gavin Lubin returns to the capital city after earning 2 bachelor degrees at Utah State. He was also named captain of his college hockey team in his senior year.
One of my favorite memories of my whole life was being in this ring. So when I come back and help it out, I came back, put my work boots on, and we got it up and running. So everything in this ring has been repainted.
Yeah, so he just said everything in this rink has been repainted. I got to tell you, that summer, I'd never seen a pair of guys put so much work into that building. And that's not any kind of shade to previous staff members and things like that. It's just different when your owners come from hockey. I think that's a big separating point. And that's, I don't knock any previous owners at all, and I hope people don't think that I do. I'm just saying that Mike and Jet are different, and they showed their differences from minute one. And to this day, they still carry mop buckets. They still haul beer upstairs during game nights. They're still in the, you know what I mean? Like, and as soon as people saw what they saw, people were like, "Oh, this is serious. This is real. Like, we need to go check these guys out." And I can't believe it, but soon after, like episode 2, that place just blew up. And I can't take the credit for it. Please know that I'm not taking credit for it. However, I think it might have helped get the word out a little bit that this was something worth watching. Not just the show, but that this team was worth watching. That this is something special. Like, forget about, this isn't your dad's bighorns, all right? This isn't your uncle's bighorns anymore. These guys are here to win, and they're here to win on all levels, right? So it's so amazing how it all took off.
We've done this summer by me and Jim Snyder. we know each other pretty well now. Save 12-hour days every day.
They did too. They worked hard. They worked their asses off.
Some structure things in the bleachers. So the benches, the player benches, completely redone. The player locker room, we wanted to make sure that our players know that we appreciate them being here. And
I don't know if you get this from this episode, but I just want to shout this out. That was built by Theo Camp, those locker stalls.
And again, we've had so many great partners. Old Stage Construction, Theo Camp and his crew really stepped up to help us. The new concession area, which will be very much, hopefully, fan-friendly. What we need to do is make sure that this arena is a long-term solution for the hockey community and the ice community, figure skating, curling club, adult hockey, youth hockey, all the groups, to make sure this arena is viable. The fans will see it, but what we want is that good feel when they come in, 2.5, 3-hour hockey game. They had a great experience. They walk out of the building and say, you know what, I want to go back there. It was a good experience for me.
The players report to training camp in late August. Among the 30-plus hopefuls to make the fun.
That was, did you guys catch that? Garrett Bogan, number 5. Fucking miss you, Bogues.
Oh. And a roster are returning players Tyler Greene and Wyatt Barton, who instantly spotted the changes made inside their home arena.
I thought it was so much different than it was before. So much work put in, so much time and effort that was spent by the coaching staff and owners to get this place looking really nice.
It was fantastic. Just coming here from last year, it was just what they done in the rink, the time and effort was just fabulous. Like, couldn't have been a better group of guys putting the work in the rink and everything.
I'm Ty Bloom. I'm from Helena, Montana. I'm a forward. I'm number 17. Ended up leaving home, and I went to play in Colorado Springs for 2 years, and that's how I met Jed and Mike.
To get the opportunity to, bring him back here, make that phone call, talk to him a little bit, it's pretty special. And the last thing I said to him was like, look, you're coming home. And he's like, I know, coach. So it's pretty cool.
I just want to play as hard as I can for the team every night and bring a compete level that boosts the energy of the boys and try and put a couple in the back of the net whenever I can and do anything I can to help the team win.
I want to win the Fraser Cup for sure. I know all the boys are on the same page for that, and I'm really excited for this year.
Definitely getting points up on the board, but really all I want to do is just win.
After much deliberation among the ownership and coaching staff, the training camp roster is trimmed down to 25. The team now has just 13 days to prepare for the regular season. The newly trimmed down squad's first test will come with a road trip to Wyoming to play the Sheridan Hawks. Over the course of the next 8 months, we will follow the Bighorns' journey through the 2021-2022 hockey season.
Man, what a great first episode. A couple comments there, and I almost said something when Bloomer came on. It was a fun little, and to look at it now, I didn't catch this back then, but to look at it now and watch him say what he says. He said that he spent a couple years in Colorado Springs with Mike and Jed. So Mike was his coach and Jed was his strength coach. So this would have been his second Bantam year, I believe. I had him first year Bantam. We won the championship because we were awesome. And anyway, we won the championship, and then he hurt his leg. That's it, in the second season of Bantam. So he would have gone up and played like U16, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong, Bloomer, if that's not the case, but it's probably the 16 team, AAA. And anyway, it's foreshadowing, right? Hey, I don't know if you caught it, but Bloomer going to Colorado Springs and kind of mentioning it, I know it was kind of an afterthought, but it's foreshadowing, right? Even then, I didn't catch on to it. Like, I was like, oh, cool, that's how you know those two. But I had no idea that we were actually going to get to go inside the world of the Colorado Springs Tigers and learn about all these guys in season 1 and season 2, and all these guys in season 3 and season 4 and season 5, where they've come from, how they've played together. Like, I had no idea that small statement in episode 1 was going to be a large part of this series moving forward, especially in the coming seasons. When Tyler Greene says that I just want to bring a compete level that boosts the energy of the boys, and like, I mean, that's different kind of thinking. Like, you've got to understand, not a lot of players from before his era were thinking that way. A lot of the players we had here back then were just, they were of a different ilk. You know what I mean? They were really great guys, actually. Still friends with a lot of them too. It's just, I never heard any of those guys talk like this, but not for nothing, I also really wasn't allowed to bring the camera around the boys. You know, there was, so these guys gave me complete and total unfettered access, and the boys loved it. The coaching staff were always cool with it. Even during the Scott Cunningham year, I thought for sure I was going to be like, he's probably not going to be cool with me running around with a camera. And to his credit, like, he was. Like, he backed it up. He's like, yeah, absolutely, anytime you want. And and I got to say, I did ask him every time, just out of respect. And I'll tell you what, that man every time said, yeah, no problem. Come on over. You're more than welcome. You're part of this too, you know, like that kind of thing. And Damon was the same way during last season, you know, and I still asked. I was just, again, out of respect for Damon, like, hey, is it cool? Hey, is it cool? And he's like, you don't even have to ask, man. Like, just, you're a part of this. Like, don't worry about it. Okay, so that was season 3, episode 1, and as much beyond, behind the scenes as I can give you for that portion. It's not hard to see why this one won a telly, because this is one of the episodes that I submitted, and it has to be, right? Like, it has to be what hooks the judges, right? Like the judges have to be hooked on this in order to get a good score. And I really was competing. I wanted to make sure that my shit that I submitted was my best work. So anyway, thanks for watching. I don't know if this is going to be well received or not. I just want to put this thing together, see what I got, and move on from there.